Alright everyone, it's your buddy Cooper here, coming at you with some helpful advice. Some advice that we all wish we got growing up. You know, if you didn't have an older brother, if you didn't have family or friends that were into cars, this is the advice that I'm going to be giving you now that they didn't give you. So consider this your wake-up call or your life lessons, the do's, the don'ts, whatever you call it. I am coming at you from my lair of judgment here today to teach you guys a thing or two. Some things that I really wish I had learned long ago, and I hope you guys don't make these same mistakes. Now, for this discussion, I guess, because we're having a discussion, you guys can comment afterwards and tell me, all the mean things you want to, but this is just full honesty, and sometimes it has to be said. So for this, we're going to assume the young car enthusiast and the broke car enthusiast are one and the same. If you're a young car enthusiast, you're most likely broke. If you're a broke car enthusiast like I am some days, this is probably for you also, because we've all done these things, and whether you have a little bit of money or a lot of money, you shouldn't make these mistakes. Unfortunately, if you are like me, especially young me, you're probably too stubborn to accept what I'm about to hit you with. So that's fair. I've been there. You keep doing you, be stubborn. Those of you that do take this advice will be much better off. So buckle in, sit down, put your phone on mute, and listen to the words I have to say. So the big one, this is rule number one. Just because it is not OEM and it didn't come on the car originally, it doesn't mean that you should get it or it's a good part. It's probably a piece of junk. OEM makes good stuff. Don't go out there and buy those cheap eBay taillights because you think that they look cooler. I guarantee you they're going to be junk in the end of the day. Don't do it. And if you so happen to do it, please take the original ones, neatly put them into the box that the aftermarket ones came into, and do not dispose of them. I promise you, at some point, somebody, hopefully you, will look at those and regret them. And that goes for a lot of different things like body panels or anything along those lines. It's just like there's so many junk parts that people buy thinking that any part is an upgrade, when honestly a lot of parts are just not upgrades. They really aren't. They look tackier than you think, and you're better off with the stock part. If the part is broken, order a new OEM one or go to the junkyard and get one. These things are readily available, please. There are a lot of aftermarket parts you should run away from. Just because they're for sale doesn't mean that they are for you. If you plan to modify your car and you're not sure of yourself, you haven't really modified cars much, you're unsure of your skills, all those kind of things, don't do anything permanent. You don't need to cut away on things. You don't need to modify things that are you can't go back from. Save that stuff for when you're confident, ready, and sure. Obviously, at some point, you're going to have to make your first cut, but you really shouldn't dive into that stuff head first. I'm telling you, be careful. We've all been there, and it's not fun. Do some dang maintenance. If you have all these like fancy eBay aftermarket parts that are junk and don't have a name on there, and you have bald tires, you did something wrong. If your oil hasn't been changed in over 3 years, you have done something wrong. You need to do the maintenance. I guarantee you're on Amazon looking at something that gives you no performance value when you have wiper blades that are falling apart. I'm telling you, do these type of things. You can clean up your headlights. You don't need just brand new ones. Things like that. Do the simple stuff. Do the maintenance. Buy tires. Change your oil. Check your brake pads. These simple stuff. We all overlook these things, but you really have to start at the basics. Again, this is for the new car enthusiasts. So if you're out there and you got one car, you live in an apartment, those kind of things, stop shopping for a turbo kit now. Do not shop for a turbo kit for it. You're going to spend a couple $1,000s. You're probably going to get a kit that's the cheaper one that doesn't just go right on easily. Don't do that. Buy a daily driver before you modify it. Having a second car is key if you're planning on modifying it, because I can guarantee you that your 3 hour, 6 hour, 5 hour job that you start on at 6 o'clock is not going to be 100% done by the time you go to drive it in the morning to school or work or whatever. It's just not going to work out like that. So please don't get in over your head. Don't start a huge project if this is your means of transportation. If you have another means of transportation, by all means, live it up. If you can walk or take the bus or a train or anything like that to work, sure, fine. But if this is your means of transportation, probably don't do a turbo kit. I've been there. I've started on coilovers on my car when I lived just in a house with 3 other guys. It was street parking. The car was street parked. I should not have been lowering this car where I was, and it turned into a huge project. I was like, oh, bang this out, and then all of a sudden one little thing will hang you up, and then you're borrowing your buddy's car to run to the parts store or something like that, and then 8 hours later you're just stressed beyond belief that you're not going to get your car done. Just don't do it, please. I'm telling you, I get it. I've done it, and I would probably do it again, but take my advice, please. It's not worth it. Especially if you're on a budget and something does really go wrong. Yeah, don't do it. Go to car meets with whatever you have. Go to car meets, park your car, park your truck, park your SUV, walk around, see what other people are doing, see if you have good or bad taste, learn what you like, see quality parts. Hopefully you're at a car meet where you can see quality stuff, and aspire to that. Now, just because you have the vehicle does not mean you have to modify it. Just because it's there and some companies make a couple parts for it, you don't have to do that. Not all cars are worth spending a bunch of money on modifying and making unique or making fast. Some cars are literally just that, just cars to get around, enjoy, get you from place to place until you get a car that you want to modify. If you have a car that you don't want to modify, just leave it. Wait, save up, buy something that you do want to modify. I'm telling you, you will regret it when you realize you have a bunch of money into a car that won't get the resale you want, and you're going to be sitting there, holding all these parts that are just going to, I don't know, auction or something like that, when you could have just saved the money towards something new. If it comes out of an aerosol can, listen to me carefully. If it comes out of an aerosol can, if it rattles and you spray it on, it's not a modification. Be careful with that stuff. You can go crazy. I've seen people spray paint all the interior panels. I've seen, wheels done that spray paint the brake pads. Like, don't go crazy. Be careful. Do things the right way. If you want to make your wheels black, take them off, clean them up nicely, and do it well. Bring them somewhere. Bringing them somewhere is a great idea. Or just do it nicely. You can spray paint things nicely, but I'm telling you, be very careful going down the route of aerosol can, because it can get out of hand quickly. I've done it. I've been there. I've had way more things spray painted on a car than I ever wanted, and you honestly don't realize how bad something is until you go to get rid of it, and then you're like, oh, I'm the only person that wants to drive this thing. Remember that. You want to get rid of it. If you ever want to get rid of this car, you have to think about that now. So don't go crazy. Don't cut the exhaust off. If somebody else is going to get it in 6 months to a year, you're trying to trade up, leave it. Don't cut the exhaust. Don't spray paint the grill or the bumper or the tail lights. Don't do that. If you can't see your brake lights when you hit the brakes, you did something wrong. If your headlights are tinted and you can't see well at night, you did something wrong. So just heed my warning on that. Be careful. I've seen people go down this rabbit hole and then suddenly it looks terrible. You take a perfectly good car and make it look rough. All right, another good one. While you're young and you don't have the money to, bring it to a shop and do something, you don't know the shops, all those things, learn how to work on the damn thing. Buy tools. Buy a set of tools from Harbor Freight and use those things until they're all broken. Learn how to use them. Change your oil. Change your headlights and taillights, like the bulbs, like simple things. Start small. Don't go looking at turbo kits, like I said. I'm talking small. If you've never worked on a car, maybe try, changing your windshield wipers before you go down the rabbit hole of getting brake pads and, I don't know, freaking a new diff. Like, start small, please. I've seen way too many people get in over their head on their first attempt at working on a car, and it ruins you because you will be so discouraged right away. So start as small as you can. If you can't add fluids correctly, you're not ready for anything else. Things that don't look right. So if you have a 1996, I got a couple 90s cars, they don't look right with some flashy, colorful aftermarket head unit. It looks terrible. They never look good. There's ways to, do Bluetooth without that. I don't recommend that kind of stuff, especially if you're wiring it yourself. It's just, I'm telling you, it never looks good, and it always makes the car look cheesier. Fake badges, those kind of things, just stay away from them. They never look good. No one likes fake badges. When things feel cheap, they feel cheap and they compound. So the more cheap things you have, the cheaper everything gets. If you have fake chrome door handles or fake chrome trim anywhere, it amplifies the cheapness. The more OEM and the cleaner you keep the car, the more matching things you have on it, it simply just looks better. I don't care what car it is. Could be a 96 Corolla, but if everything matches and looks good, it's gonna look better than the 96 Corolla that has all this junk aftermarket shit on there. There's obviously really nice aftermarket stuff, but we're not really talking about that. So stay away from, too much junk. As soon as it starts piling up with junk, you're gonna just, it's not gonna look good. Nobody's gonna want to drive it, and I'm sure a lot of people can attest to this, but that's where we're at. Guys, I hope this was educational for some of you. If you guys are young car enthusiasts and you have any questions, send me an email, message me on Instagram or something. I can give you some advice. I would be happy to. I've made some poor mistakes because I didn't really have any guidance when I started doing this, so I kind of just spent stupid money on things that in the long run I ended up wanting to just throw away, like just amps that were terrible, subs that were terrible, underglow for the interior that is all just in the trash now, and it was stupid of me to buy it and stupid of me to own. And I would love to help you guys with anything along those lines, whether it's cars, trucks, SUVs. Just don't be cheesy, don't be corny. You'll be happy you did it, and you'll honestly be happy if you don't touch it and leave it alone or do very minor things. I know we all want to work on our car every day, but don't go crazy. I hope this was educational for some of you. If you guys have any other things you wanted to add, put them down in the comments. But that'll do it, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep it saucy. I'll see you next time.